Nigeria continues to record successes on its onslaught against insurgency. The federal government has assured citizens that the worst of insecurity is over. Our correspondent Amaka Ode-Walter tells us more.
As far as the daunting security challenges we face are concerned, we can tell you that the worst is over.
Assurances from the federal government as it highlights the successes recorded in recent months against terrorists and other criminal elements. Although there are still pockets of attacks and kidnappings witnessed across the country, the government says insecurity will never be as bad as experienced recently, and the terrorists are now on the run while some are surrendering.
Today, we are here to tell you that while we may not be there yet, our military and other security agencies have succeeded and are succeeding in substantially restoring security across the nation.
With the utmost support of the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, modern platforms and equipment are being procured for the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Navy, and the Nigerian Air Force, whilst recruitment and quality training and retraining is being carried out. This present administration is doing everything possible to ensure the safety and security of all citizens.
And despite over 11 trillion naira estimated to have been spent battling insecurity in the past 7 years and 15% of the 2022 budget dedicated to security and defense of the nation, some Nigerians believe the battle is far from over. Inadequate policing and technological challenges in the fight against terrorists are set to be addressed.
This issue of insecurity is all over West Africa. It is not just a Nigerian matter. It may be political, we don't know, but we are on top of the situation. When Mr. President made his second coming, he gave the police the directive to recruit 10,000 police officers annually. This we have been doing, and since that time, from that time to date, we have recruited over 30,000 police constables. This is in addition to the average of 500 that are being recruited annually from the Police Academy Hotel. So what is remaining now is the last lap of the 10,000 that he gave us. And this is going to be done late this year or early next year.
The processes and the approaches to addressing the issues is a combination of using both technology and technology-enabled platforms to be able to address the issues. So, in straightforward answer is to tell you that yes, we are employing technology and indeed increasing our application of technology as we acquire them, increasing their employment and addressing the issues. So the very direct attacks, operations, both covert and overt, have been enabled by technology.
The month of August saw a high rate of attacks on government facilities, which prompted the closure of schools, more policing on public facilities and roads. President Muhammadu Buhari then ordered the military to take the fight against terrorists to their hideouts and ensure that they are completely eliminated. Amaka Ode-Walter, Arise News.
All right, let's talk about this morning. State of security in the country, Tundu.
Yeah, more marching orders, which is such a threadbare term at this point, but it has been observed, thankfully, that some momentum has been achieved in the fight against insurgency in this country. Thankfully, I say, but it's not over. It's far from over. And this report that Operation Hadinkai resulted in terrorists fleeing and drowning in the process is also encouraging. But I find it really odd to hear other reports or read other reports that the insurgents went into the river and were, recovering the bodies of their drowned colleagues and organized a funeral for them. Yet they were not apprehended. That something should have been done there. I think a trick was missed there, because we have heard, unfortunately, really sadly in this country. I remember most recently in Anambra, but it's happened before, where gunmen attack funerals. Gunmen kill people at funerals, abduct people at funerals. So I fail to see why our security agencies fail to take this opportunity to go to this funeral and round up those people who were burying their dead terrorist colleagues. I don't understand that at all. And it does lead us to wonder exactly how efficient these security operatives are. But having said that, it's always important to celebrate every single victory that we achieve as a country in this war, and a victory has been achieved. However, we still have scores of Nigerians in forests all over the place. Nobody is sleeping any safer in their bed, so a lot more still needs to be done.
Dr. Batu?
There were two major events yesterday. First, the joint World Press Conference that was addressed at the National Press Center by a combination of the Minister of Information and Culture, Minister Lai Mohammed, the Minister of Defense, that's General Magashi, and also the Minister of Police Affairs, Alhaji Daginyadi. And they all focus on the security situation in the country. And the major message, as outlined, as defined by the Minister of Information, was that with regard to security challenges in Nigeria, the worst is over. How is the worst over? He said, well, it should not be misinterpreted, it should not be misunderstood. He's not saying that there are no more challenges in the country, but just that in terms of scale, the government has been able to do everything within its powers to suppress cases of insecurity in the country. Well, if that is a summary, what are the details? The details were provided by the two other ministers, Minister of Defense and the Minister of Police Affairs, who said that, one, government is doing everything possible within its powers. Two, that when you compare what is happening now in the country, it's far different from what the situation was in the past. The Minister of Defense also made a claim that many of the expressways are now free, safe. Abuja to Kaduna, Kaduna to Zamfara, the Kaduna-Niger axis, most of those places, as a result of operations that have been put in place through the combined effort of the various security agencies. The Minister of Police Affairs also drew attention to the fact that the security agencies have been able to demobilize over 3,000 Boko Haram terrorists, and that indeed persons who used to be in internally displaced persons camps are already going back to their ancestral lands, to use the phrase that he used. Okay, well, and the summary of all of that is that government is acquiring equipment, government is doing this, government is doing that. Minister Lai Mohammed says, yes, the situation now is different from what it used to be in the past. But what will he say to those families whose persons and who individually and collectively are still victims of kidnapping, banditry, armed robbery, inter-ethnic violence, and sundry acts of criminality in the country who are not brought to order? What will he say, for example, don't misunderstand me, don't misinterpret me, to those persons whose family members are still in the custody of the terrorists who abducted them while they were traveling between Abuja and Kaduna? The Minister of Police Affairs and the Minister of Information corroborated this. Oh, that our custodial facilities in Nigeria are now well fortified and that they are impregnable. Who is going to buy that story? Considering the fact that only recently the dust over the attack by terrorists right inside Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, by terrorists, that dust has not yet settled. Now we're told that the custodial facilities are very safe. The bigger message that was put across at that forum was that the president has now given all the security agencies a deadline. I think it's December, to wipe out terrorism and banditry in the country. Okay, if the security agencies and the service chiefs, if they fail to do so by December, what will happen? Is the president going to sack them? Have we not seen that change of personnel does not necessarily translate into any significant advantages where, security issues are involved? We're told that the worst is over. How is the worst over? In the review of the recent capital importation data provided by the National Bureau of Statistics, the experts, the other day I quoted Andre Nevin of PricewaterhouseCoopers, and he said part of the reason why capital importation into Nigeria, particularly in terms of foreign direct investment, is very low is because of security challenges in the country. Who wants to come and invest here if security remains a big issue? So, technically, I do not think that the worst is over. And there are persons who also believe that the worst is not yet over. I said 2 events yesterday. The second event was the day 2 of a workshop that took place at the headquarters of the Department of State Security in Abuja, in which you had all the major intelligence agencies participating, from NFIU to DIA to DMI to NIA to DSS itself. And their focus was on terrorism financing, and the major takeaway from that meeting, as reported in the papers, is that the security agencies, the intelligence agencies, are working together to ramp up their efforts to check the network of financing for terrorists. In principle, that makes sense. But I think the big message here, in response to all of this, yes, government continually tries to boost our confidence, tries to reassure the people, to say, look, government knows what it's doing, and government is addressing this challenge. And ahead of the 2023 general elections, it probably makes sense to continually remind Nigerians that government is making an effort, the expressways are free, the intelligence agencies are working together, a new security architecture is being defined, new equipment, have been procured. But the test, or how do they say, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. It's the people themselves that will know when there is security in the country. Rhetoric, promises, assurances have been the standard fare that we've been offered. But when the people see that the country is secure, we will see the effect in capital importation, in investment, in the joy that you see on people's faces, and the lowering of the temperature of Jeremiad across parts of the country.
It has to be said that when the government says the worst is over, the question is, let us interrogate even further and ask, what is over? The insecurity? Is it? Truly? Can we truly beat our chest and say it is over? The other part is, yes, we want our country to do well. And you see, I tell people that criticism is subsidized learning. For anybody that cares to listen, for the fact that people criticize and they say you can do it a whole lot better, means that you can actually get better. And criticism is the most patriotic gift you can give any government. So when they say the worst is over, we want the worst to be over. We are optimistic. We want Nigeria to do well. But truly, can we say deep inside that the worst is over? Can we interrogate with empirical evidence that the worst is over? Can we truly travel on those roads again without thinking of anything? Can we truly hit Lagos-Ibadan Expressway by 10 p.m. in the night? I want us to get to that level, but are we there yet? Can we truly hear that there's no banditry activity any longer? Can the governor of Niger State come out to say that, insurgency are taking large swaths of his land in Niger, but they're all gone? Can we say we've truly decimated to a point where they cannot react, the terrorists I'm talking about? What's it like on the Lagos-Ibadan rail line? Are people back after that incident that happened on the train track? And the worst is over. The prisons are impregnable. That's another phrase I heard. Are there now CCTV cameras in all the Nigerian prisons? Because when you say impregnability, definitely you want to also talk about the fact that you can record incidents that happen there. Until date, correct me if I'm wrong, have they been able to get CCTV footage of what happened at the Kuje prison? Probably if they have that, maybe that might have bolstered their investigation. So can we say the CCTV is running and is connected to cloud across prisons in Nigeria now? What's the fortification like? I was also seeing in the report that it said 888 inmates escaped when that thing happened. Have we gotten all the inmates that escaped? Don't they pose a threat and danger to society? We want the worst to be over in Nigeria because we know Nigeria is a peaceful country that can return to a place of peace. And like Amartya said, we always say, it is peace that will bring development. It is development that will bring genuine freedom in society. We pray the worst is over. But what's the empirical evidence on ground? For the sake of balancing, you can take a trip 11 p.m. in the middle of the night and see for yourself. If the expressways are clear, you could take a trip. Or you could even go investigate in the prisons and see if there are CCTV cameras working in them. We want the worst to be over, and we pray it will be well with Nigeria. Moving on to national stories. Contrary to what was reported yesterday, Imo State Governor, member of APC, Senator Hope Uzodinma, told the Igbos to forget the presidency in 2023 and that they could produce a president of their extraction whenever they found peace. The report was not true, as the Imo State Governor, in his speech delivery during the book launch, where he stated that Igbos love Nigeria and will always be involved in the development of the country. So this made a lot of news. Okay.
2021.
First, I came to. But I want to note with interest, recalling the topic of this lecture, resonating with my latest book, Reflections on the Igbo Question. In the book, I set out to showcase the numerous contributions of Ndi Igbo to national unity, while also interrogating the challenges they face in their quest for a just, fair, and equitable Nigeria. Having said this, let me submit that the truth of the matter is that in spite of obvious misinterpretations and misrepresentations, Ndi Igbo love Nigeria very passionately. And the evidence is overwhelming. There is no part of Nigeria, no matter how remote, where you will not find the Igbos living happily with their host communities, while contributing to the growth and development of the area. I often ask this question: can a man live in a land he loathes? Can a man feel at home in a land he abhors? Will the gods of that land allow the business of that man to thrive? I believe the answers to these questions, obvious capital knows. You can now fill in the gaps for the Igbos.
Right. We talked about this yesterday. Let's talk about Tundu.
Yes, we did. It's as you reported from your WhatsApp messages that you got. So we can hear it for ourselves.
Dr. Patti?
Yeah, I thought I already commented on this yesterday. So, and I gave full details of the objection to the story by
Declan
Mbadiwe Emelumba, the Commissioner for Information in Imo State. But the thing to note is that it was not an original RS News story. Other newspapers reported it. And as I said yesterday, Declan Emelumba, he has a job cut out for him. I expected that by this morning, he will have issued a statement, irrefutable, saying this is a true situation and all of that. That's how the game is played, okay? And as I said yesterday, I'm not going to continue to do his work for him on television, but it's okay for purposes of balance. He knows what to do. Yeah.
I mean, for purposes of balance, it's okay. And why I said it's okay because when you look at that speech, there were reactions yesterday. And if he had said that, the reaction that was met with the conversation would have been it. But if this is it, then we uphold this for the purpose of balance. And like he has said here, he loves Igbo people, that Igbo people love Nigeria and all of that. But for me, I think that should not subjugate the Igbo question in the polity of Nigeria. There have been injustices over the years. You can stretch the argument by saying other parts of the country too have cried foul. There's no part of this country that has never cried foul at any point in time. Yorubas, Hausas, in fact, at some point they screamed Araba, then the Igbos. And at a time like this, you can't push away the conversation on Igbo presidency, which a lot of people feel is justice. And that's why you have the likes of a very leader, Ayo Adebanjo, supporting Igbo presidency and endorsing an Igbo presidential candidate. So you can't push away that conversation for justice. And going into this election, it's going to be a cardinal factor, the Igbo presidency. It's still going to be talked about.